Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a tag video that I had actually seen a couple smaller YouTubers who I hold in very high esteem do. Abby Williams, Smoky Glow, you know, kind of just all of that. I'm unaware of who started this tag. If you do know, please inform me down below, because sometimes I am not the most informed. But this is the bad and the boring tag. I mean, if we want to get a little bit of well-deserved and therapeutic trash talking, there are 10 questions that I'm going to be going through and answering for you all. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Number 1. A foundation finish you don't like. For anyone who knows me, leave your guess down below, and if you get it right, you get a gold star. Good? You got them in? You got your guess locked in? Matte. Especially super matte. I can sometimes get away with a demi matte. 9 times out of 10, matte just takes the dryness and texture on my skin and magnifies it 100-fold. And makes me look like a craggly, nasty, disgusting mess. And if we're gonna talk about the worst matte foundation that I've tried, not necessarily the worst foundation formula, but for my skin, this was the worst. And that is the Fenty Pro Filter Long Wear Foundation. That stuff took texture that I didn't know that I had. Created dryness where there was once at least a facade of moisture. Oh, that stuff was just not it for my skin. It just, you applied it, and it immediately set. No powder, no nothing, matte as all could be. Number 2, the worst mascara you have ever tried. Now, I will be straight up and honest with y'all. I haven't tried a lot of mascara. Mascara is one of those things that's kind of like oh yeah, I guess I should buy it. I guess I should put it on. For a very long while there, I was wearing nothing but false lashes, so I only needed mascara to kind of a little bit after applying them. And so mascara is definitely very much of like an afterthought for me. So I honestly can't think of a mascara that's like the worst. And maybe that's because I have very low expectations when it comes to mascara, but I can't think of one that's like, yes, I tried you and you were awful. It's not there. One thing, number 3, one thing you've tried once and then thrown away. I usually don't throw away makeup, so we will insert stopped using right here. But the one that comes to my mind is the Tarte Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. Being a hydrating foundation, that stuff was awfully similar to the Fenty Pro Filter Foundation. Whereas it didn't give me a like rainforest of the sea mermaid complexion so much as it did someone who'd been out in the desert for 5 years and hadn't had any water. Y'all, that stuff was bad. It was just, oh my goodness. I put it on and it like the color like turned, I got matched. And the color turned this sickly, jaundiced yellow. And then it started to like dry down and okay, all right, I'm gonna use an example. There is a type of painting. I'm not sure which era it was, but it was called fresco painting. And if anyone is familiar with this type of painting, you got wet plaster essentially and then you paint on it as fast as you can before it dries, and then it does this like super crackly whateverness. Or for a more recent representation, y'all remember those nail polishes that you put over top of a color and they would crack and looked absolutely horrible? That is what that foundation did to my face. Most boring eyeshadow palette you own. Okay, let me think, cause I've curated my collection pretty good, but I do have a lot of the like neutral classic ones, like, you know, Urban Decay Naked. Let me see here. Too Faced Chocolate Bar. Let me think for a minute. In all honesty, I would probably have to choose the Urban Decay Naked 2, because the Naked 1 is these rich, you know, suede, you know, grungy browns, you know, the Naked 3, rose gold, Naked Smoky, Naked Heat, Naked Reloaded, and the Naked 2 is literally, they're like, all right, paint and decorate your eyes in shades of taupe. I'm like, I must admit, in all my days, I never would have sat down and been like, you know what the best color would be for a theme of an eyeshadow palette is taupe. All right, let's make it and sell it. It just doesn't incite excitement in me. Do I use it? Every once in a while, but does it, you know, I look at it and I'm like, oh boy, you send thrills of artistic excitement through my body. No, it doesn't. It just sits there because I am a collector and I have a hard time breaking up collection things. Number 5, a makeup trend you think is boring and want to go away. In all honesty, I do not keep up with makeup trends. I kind of just stay in my own lane and do my makeup how I want to do it. I mean, like I said, I don't follow the Instagram. I don't watch the big booty gurus. I kind of just do my own thing. So kind of like the mascara, I can't sit here and think, yes, that is like, you know, like I can immediately think of something that irks me. I mean, we can get real for a minute and be like, well, not so much a makeup trend, but like a makeup community trend that I think is not so much boring, but I think is awful and should stop, is let's stop like putting down other people. Let's like start trying to build each other up. Let's stop just being mean, nasty, and petty people and just try to grow the community rather than just being nasty. That's a trend I think needs to die, is all this pettiness and all this nastiness up here in the community, and also all this like cliquey inclusivityness going on where it's like, there's no one, I feel like when it comes to the community, even with like, and it's everybody, not just big YouTubers, smaller YouTubers too. It's like, if there isn't a payoff, if there isn't, you have to be a certain something to be allowed into a cliquey group. It's like we're all small creators here. We're all, you know, a little fish in a big old ocean that is oversaturated with creators and makeup. Maybe we could band together like a group of little sharkies and, you know, be nice and maybe grow ourselves up. But no, we gotta go all mean girls and just like, you know, you have to have that certain something. Went a little far and hard into that one. Number 6, the worst liquid lipstick you have tried. This, my own fault. I just insert stupidity right here. But this was off Shop Miss A, and they had the AOA brand. Their brushes are amazing. I highly recommend checking out their brushes. But I bought some of their liquid lipsticks, and I bought colors that are difficult for mainstream brands to formulate. Got like 2 grays and a dark blue. And I kid you not when I tell you that basically they put paint into this liquid lipstick tube and sold it to me for $1. It smelled like paint. The smell did not fade did not dissipate as I wore it. If anything, it got worse. And it turned my lips into like the epitome of sun-dried raisins, where they were just, why did you do this to me? It was awful. They were flaky, they were like crunchy, and we're not talking like after an extended period of wear. We're talking you put it on, it dries down, flake. Basically what the Tarte foundation did to my face, this liquid lipstick did to my lips. It was probably the most painful and the worst wasted dollar of my life. Well, $3, because I bought 3 of them and they were all equally awful. Was trying to dodge a corner, was trying to cut a corner, trying to get me some awesome liquid lipstick for a good price, and no, I got paint. Number 7, what color do you think is the most boring? Well, we kind of tore a new one into the Naked 2 palette, so taupe is pretty up there. This is not necessarily the most boring shade. I'm not going to talk about color schemes. I'm going to talk about a pet peeve of mine, and some of y'all may know what's coming. But when you have an eyeshadow palette that's got a beautiful range, and you're like, this is so great. It's got depth, it's got dimension, it's got everything I want. And then up, and usually the left or right hand corner is a shade that is not typically white, usually a white ecru eggshell ivory type shade, which is more often than not used as a setting shade for said primer or concealer, or if you're, you know, a vampire, I guess it could be a color shade. But I feel like, I mean, this is the epitome of the most boring shade. I'm like, why are you taking up real estate in this palette for me? And this is just me personally, this is me getting on my soapbox and getting all whatever. I never use those white, soft, beige, taupe setting shade. I never. And whenever anyone is like, oh, look at this, it's such a great crease shade, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a great crease shade because you can't see it. I mean, I hate that. I hate it when you have a good palette. Like, I'm okay with starting out with something light and then you just transition all into whatever. But when you get in, and people are going to be like, well, it's used for blending the edges. I just hate it. I hate the epidemic of this, like, beautiful palette layout and then this freaking throwaway shade that's like, you could have been something amazing, you could have been a contender, and instead you were just 1,000 shades of beige that I will never use. Number 8, what brand do you think coming out with the most boring things? Oh, this is a hard one. This is a very hard one. That's not even me being petty, that's not me being shady. It's like, I mean, a lot of brands are releasing a lot of boring stuff because they're releasing something every other week. And when you're releasing something every other week, it's like, there's only so much you can do, you know? You're just bleeding everything dry at this point. But I would probably, I had one of you all get upset at me for in my most recent anti-haul, get upset at me for talking about non-cruelty free brands. And I am a cruelty free channel, but when something really spikes with me, I want to talk about it. And also, not all y'all are cruelty free, so I mean, it's a thing, whatever. So insert benefit right here. And then this isn't so much like they're consistently releasing the most boring stuff. This is like, compared to what they used to be releasing, their new stuff is beyond snooze-worthy. And that is Urban Decay, a brand that I used to advocate for. Like, I I loved Urban Decay. I mean, I went to all them friggin' launch parties. I bought all the Vice palettes. I bought all the lipsticks. I mean, I was a hardcore Urban Decay fan because their aesthetic appealed to the sort of rebellious, anti-conformity teen me. And you had things like the Electric palette. You had things like the Vice palette. You had the Alice in Wonder. You had these very avant-garde, very different, very, you know, it was very unique to them. And now they're releasing boring naked palettes and limited edition products that then inevitably go on sale. I just feel like Urban Decay has become, like, a couple years ago, they were ahead of the time, or very much, you know, on trend. And now they're like 5 years behind everyone else. They're just like, we don't know what we're doing anymore. I mean, so many of these brands just need to fire everybody. Well, no, I don't advocate firing people. That's not nice. But they need to start from ground zero. They need to rebuild. They need to reassess themselves and their aesthetic. And it's just compared to what the quality and the stuff that they used to, you know, the bright tones and the rich jewel tones. And now they're like neutrals, which neutrals can be gorgeous. But when you had a brand that was basically the one brand who was doing color, it's kind of just like, oh, that's a little bit sad. And in my lifetime. Number 9, which step in your makeup routine is the most boring one? Now, is this most boring or what I find most boring? But I'm gonna say mascara, because it's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, it adds, you know, I'll do my face and be like, something's wrong, and then I'll put mascara on and be like, oh, okay, there, I look a little bit better. But like, you know, there's like, you know, eyeshadow and eyebrows, and, you know, I feel like everything else I could get a bit creative with, and then it's like, mascara, what is it? Mixture of something black that I'm coating my lashes with, you know? Or there is colorful whatever, but I don't, you know, in my routine, I don't regularly use colored mascara. But yeah, mascara is just kind of like, okay. If you had to choose between a good base and a bad eye look, or a bad base and a good eye look, which would you choose? I admit, the answer for this is different now than it would have been if I'd done this tag 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I'd have been saying, girl, eyeshadow. I need the good eyeshadow. My face can suffer. But now that I've, like, matured, in my makeup taste as well as my skin maturing with age, I appreciate a good-looking base so much more. Like, bad eyeshadow, I can whatever and deal with and finagle through. But if I have put on my base and my foundation and it looks, you know, creepy, nasty, I throw my hands up in the air and I just like sweep my hand across my bathroom sink and I just throw everything down. I'm like, I'm done. I have a lot more respect for my complexion than I used to, because I used to be like, oh, the only thing that matters is your eyeshadow. And now I'm like, no, it is not. I would definitely choose the nice base, the nice face, the nice complexion over good eyeshadow, because, you know, if I would never wear eyeshadow, no, I don't want to say that. But I do respect my good complexion, and I work a lot harder to make my base makeup look as good as everything else. But that is that. That is the completed tag. I will leave the questions down below for any of y'all who may want to do it. If you do, tag me in it. Tell me about it. Let me go see what you've got. I will also leave down below the videos that I watch, so we can all have a lovely watching party. And if you feel so inclined to answer one or two of these questions down below, let's all talk about the boring and the lame and the whatever within the community, which recently there has been a lot. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!